Quickly, I'll just say that I'm biased because I did not like school. And I particularly didn't like how I was taught in school. I liked history, right, as an example, but only what I was interested in. I didn't like the day that Henry VIII died, what the date was, I didn't care about. You're interested in history as well, I imagine. Maybe you're just not interested in history the way that school demanded you to be. And that's what I didn't like. School didn't even demand you to be interested. It just wanted you to apply yourself, to not even learn. Because if you're not interested in something, you're not necessarily learning it. You're just reading about it so much that you're printing it in your brain. But that's not learning. That's just like downloading data. Everyone I know, if I'd asked them to recollect what they learnt in school, the general point is that they don't remember. They don't remember anything they learnt. But we continue like it doesn't matter. We continue to pretend that our society is as evolved as can be. But in many ways, we are actually backwards. So you did a history test and you passed it. In you passing that test, what does that prove? Does it prove that you're intelligent? Does it prove that you can go back in time and fix people's diseases? That you can stop Henry VIII from dying? I would say that what passing that test proves is your ability to comply and remember information. I remember one time in class, and when the teacher called out for someone to answer, I put my hand up, and I didn't even really remember it. It was kind of a guess. Yet when I got the guess, I remember everyone surprised that I got that answer, and all of a sudden, they felt that I was smarter than they thought, that they had underestimated my intelligence. First of all, I didn't even know the answer, I just guessed. But second of all, I'm being praised and I'm being rewarded for that same thing again. It isn't actually my mental ability that I'm being praised for. It's compliance and memory. Trauma is built around learning from school because we are not driven by interest, we are not driven by our own desire to explore a subject, and we are also not driven by our sense of accomplishment at getting more educated on a subject. Instead, we are driven by fear and compliance. We don't want to fail. We have grades that can compare us against others. And this slowly but surely wires anxiety into the process of learning in schools. If we think about passionate people who have learned how to play piano, how to code, or they didn't discover that being driven by fear. They discovered that through an inspiration. They weren't forced into those subjects. In a way, they found themselves in the subject. And my unfortunate experience with school was the opposite, as I would always lose myself in a subject. Natural learning, I would say, is a chaotic process. You cannot control what inspires you and drives you. Yet school flips that. School controls the learning. You have bells, time slots for lessons, and the work itself is in time as well. And this all disregards the chaos that comes with learning. The process of natural learning, it grows like that. And so when you're putting that in a box, it sabotages the natural process. And for some who it doesn't work for at all, the box just pops open. Does anyone force the process of infants learning to walk? They teach themselves because they are inspired to. It's part of the mind to be curious. So if our mind is made for learning, why did we create systems to force the process? What is the point in having our curiousness when our way of learning is in spite of it? So I'm going to stop bashing at school now because I want to explore a different way of learning. Now with the Lumo app, learning isn't just better than school, it's a whole new way of learning because it's not the mind teaching itself this time. I might be making up a word here, but in Lumo, learning is a co-creative process. A kid might be inspired by piano, and together they'll be able to become experts at the piano keys, the history of piano. And all of that is not just because the kid is curious about it, but Lumo is also. Because Lumo has artificial intelligence, it mirrors the pace that you learn, it mirrors the way that you think, helping you learn quicker, and it also mirrors your interests, making you feel like you have a friend who's interested in what you're learning as well. This way of learning reveals that the people who could not learn from school, people who could not fit in the box, the problem wasn't on them. The problem was with an incompatible system. And with the way Lumo works, he is compatible with anyone. But I suppose Lumo can't really be compared to school, because in school it's 50% about teaching, and in Lumo it's 100% about learning. because Lumo will be learning with you. So with the design of this app, I can't confirm that it's going to replace schools, but I do believe that it will be integrated into the way that kids learn from now on. And that's good news, because that means from now on, kids will be learning like they learnt how to walk. It's a natural process, as they have followed what they are inspired by, and they can finally find themselves in subjects they are interested in again.